me. Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. Today we are going to be talking about something that today is in the news, but it's really not in the news, not in the mainstream, but it's going to really severely affect us in the future when it comes to supply chain, inflation, and even more shortages. I'm here with Eric from Sage News. We're going to dive right into it. Eric, how you doing?
Hey, good. I'm doing good. So we had some stuff pop up in the news. One of the articles out of, your state, California, which I'm sorry, it's a problem child. And I kind of wanted to bring that up to everybody to kind of show what we got going on. So Let me pull up the screen here and give you this one first. So the article came out of Overdrive magazine. They have a magazine, but Overdrive. Nearly 80,000 active trucks could be barred from operating in California by the end of the year. Beginning in January 1st, 2023, if you're one of the estimated 76,000 owners who lives and operates in California with a pre-2010 emissions spec engine, your ability to operate in the state of California will be in jeopardy. Now, let me come back real quick to what also happened in March, and this kind of coincides with that. So during the Trump administration, one of the things that he did is he said, look, when it comes to EPA standards, California wanted to set their own rules, and Trump was like, no, we really need to make this coexist here, and everybody operating under the same situation, so we know how to do this. Well, that was lifted by Biden, and now California can operate with more restrictive operations when it comes to EPA emissions and things like that.
Let me jump in real quick. So I want to explain something. What Trump was trying to do is he saw that there are certain states that can literally put the federal government and the country in a stranglehold when it comes to trade. And one of them is California. The reason why is because California controls, I believe it's still the busiest port, but there's multiple ports in California where goods come in from other countries all over the world, especially food. They come in through their ports and then they get shipped out throughout the country. Now, we've just recently seen this massive backlog with all of these ships. Many people would attribute it to the all of a sudden the country opens up, the world opens up, and they're all coming back with goods. But the reason why all of those ships were backlogged was because only a certain amount of semi-trucks that met California compliance standards for their emissions were able to go in and grab those containers and then get them to other parts of the US. Or mostly what happened when it turned into a crisis, those trucks stopped at the borders of the states and they would offload and get it to another truck that could just zip it out. That is very serious. And the prior administration understood what was going on and the amount of political clout they could have over a country and over the federal government. And that is very, very serious. So sorry, I'm fired up, but I had to fire.
No problem. And what the big part is that you're right, a lot of the trucks that operate in the port, that California does about 60%, depending who you ask, 60 to 7% of the goods come into California. So the trucks that operate at the port are usually older trucks pulling out of the ports, and those are the guys that are going to be most affected, is those port and drayage trucks. We call them drayage, but they're the trucks that go in and grab the containers and do that. Most of those are older trucks because they don't have to go very far. They're going in, grabbing the containers, taking it maybe 100 miles, and then it's going to be cross-docked. So most of the operations that this is going to affect is the port operations that we're already having issues with. And when basically they said, hey, we're going to impose our own, and like I said, like this article basically said, the decision to reinstate the clean air waiver that allows California to adopt stronger fuel economy standards for those federal government and set more precedent for the country. So, and the other part of this was emissions, and that's where they seem to keep focusing on, and focusing on those emissions is actually going to hurt that port, because we can't get trucks in. And the other issue real quick is, even though those trucks, how are they going to buy new trucks? And it's very hard to buy new trucks at this time because we can't get chips, we can't get trucks moving. So trucks are backed up. So it's not like they can just say, well, I'll just go buy another truck. You could be on a year waiting list to get trucks right now.
Yeah. And so the reason why, and I love to be able to give a solution to all of the problems in life. This is one that's tough because I want to warn everybody about what's happening. California is going to do the current administration's work. I want people to understand this is how serious this is. When they talk about setting a standard, no, they're not. There always has to be one crazy person in a room for another person to start acting crazy. I'm going to be honest with you, because if all of a sudden you're crazy too, and you see another crazy person acting out and go, ooh, I'm not the only one. So I guess it's not that bad. And then the crazy starts to spread. And I got to be honest with you, I'm fired up because this it will cause, and I want people to understand this, it's intended to cause shortages. It is intended to cause inflation. It's intended to cause pain. And I can't be more serious about that. And I want to say something. I'm totally being led right now. I'm going to declare something. There's going to be a day where the Economic Ninja is going to be part of the biggest agriculture shipping company in the country, because there are so many things that are screwed up with the way our exports, our food goes out, and then we bring in the same food so we can, you know, the government can tax the crap out of us. And I'm fired up. And so what do we do? What do you think, Eric? What's the first thing you think of what we can do?
Well, one of the first things that I do think of, if you are getting any type of goods that are coming into these ports in California, and that's the way your freight forwarder or your logistics person is telling them, what you're going to want to do is say, look, get me a price to ship it to Houston. Get me a price to ship it to another port. Try not to use that port, because what's going to happen is when it comes in, it's going to be sitting there, and you could lose so much money by, even though it might be cheaper to go to that port, weigh the option of the time it could be sitting there compared to the time that a little bit extra money to get it over to Houston or get it up to Seattle, get it to a port that is not falling under these restrictions. Kind of think ahead and start asking your logistics person to do a little work and do a little research.
Now, another thing too is these scenarios that we're talking about, these are far off in the future. This could be a year, 2, maybe 3 years out in the future. But we know they're going to happen when we see legislation, laws being changed, rules being changed. The way business is being handled today is now not the same as it was in the past. Me and Eric can see this and see where the future is going. And that's why we're so fired up, where a lot of people may go, hey, you guys are blowing this out of proportion. Like, no, you have no clue what's coming. So I want NinjaNation to be prepared. So yes, if you have a logistics company, start getting ready to plan for what is coming. If you have, your business has certain needs and they're from out of country, if you can, buy up more inventory, right? Start to plan farther out than a quarter or 1 year. Start thinking multi-year. I want NinjaNation business owners to be great, to be huge, to be blowing up, because they're people that think clearly and act decisively. Right. Sorry, I'm not even joking, Eric. I'm so fired up about this.
And one of the other things I want to mention is, remember, we talked about this before. We're kind of giving 6-month future things here. In June, we have contract negotiations at the ports. They could go on strike. At the end of the year, you could have restrictions. And one of the things that NinjaNation, we all talk about, and maybe I can break it down like this. Poor people live day to day. They focus on today. Wealthy people focus on next year, right? Amen. So and that's what and everybody else falls in the middle. If the middle class might be focusing on quarterlies, stuff like that. But depending on how far you can look and focus on is where your wealth is going to be built. But if you keep focusing on today, you're going to stay poor. It's just the way it works.
Well said, Eric. I mean, we want to see the poor people become the upper middle class. I want to see the lower middle class become the upper middle class.
And that's all we need to look to the plan for the future. And that's where wealth, like I said, that's where wealth is built. It's not built today. It's built. What am I doing today that's going to make me wealthy next year? That's where you want to push.
Man, I couldn't leave it on a better note, Eric. I'm fired up.
I can tell.
Oh, man. All right. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for coming on. Guys, if you haven't heard of Eric from Sage News, please check out Eric. He is awesome, bringing you all kinds of logistics news. He is an owner-operator. No, he's not an owner-operator of a semi-truck company now. He now owns a logistics company that employs many other people. So go and check him out. Eric, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.